Money for Russia and nukes for Iran, thanks to a prez with no brain and no plan. As the Washington Free Beacon reports, the new Iran agreement would let Russia cash in on $10 billion contract to build nuclear sites. Russia and the Biden White House confirmed that the new nuke deal includes carve-outs that will waive sanctions on both countries. So much for those sanctions, huh? Meanwhile, U.S. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm views the war in Ukraine as an opportunity to act on clean energy.
This crisis in Europe and the crisis our allies are facing and the reduction of supply of natural gas and oil from Russia creates a moment that we should be acting. We talk about electrification, obviously. It's not just about transportation. It's about homes and making sure that we wean ourselves off of fossil fuels.
Using a war to wean ourselves off fossil fuels? I haven't seen such bizarre priorities since Michael Moore bought cologne.
Damn.
That is good. Meanwhile, morale among Russian forces is reportedly dropping faster than a baby held by cat. It's no surprise. According to the New York Times, they're getting creamed. More than 7,000 Russian troops have already been killed, and the Pentagon says as more die, their will to fight diminishes, especially the dead ones. All right, Joey, I haven't talked to you about this since it started, and I have been extremely dedicated to being skeptical about what's coming out of these countries, whether what's real versus what's propaganda, because I don't want to be sold into a war the way I was with Iraq. The problem is I think I'm changing. I think that what's coming out is influencing me and making me think that Ukraine could win. Can you just tell me what's going on? Am I right to be cautiously optimistic? Am I falling for the stuff I told other people not to fall for? Do I still have my youthful good looks at 57?
Your hair looks nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll give you a compliment.
Yeah.
You called me Jonathan for some reason. Anyway, I guess what bothers me about this the most is when I went to Iraq in 2007 and 8, if you asked me why I was there, I would say so that guy and that gal can come home.
Right.
That's as much as I could believe in.
Right.
I'd already known by that point how much was involved in that war, and I willingly went, happily went as a United States Marine. When I went to Afghanistan in 2010, there was a little bit more understanding of why I was there, but we had been there for 10 years, or 9.5 years, 10 years. And if you asked me then why I was there, it'd be like, I'm going to take these bombs apart so that those two can go home and all these villagers that have been living in war for too long have a chance at life. It was never about the mission, though.
Right.
And so when I hear people say stuff like the troops are just downtrodden, the Russian troops are downtrodden, they don't believe in the fight, I don't know that's true because I know my bros fought a war for 20 years. And because of what came on the airways, we believed in it and really didn't have a clue about the politics of it. And so it's hard for me to buy everything hook, line, and sinker. So I've taken a step back because I hosted Fox and Friends and told the world that 13 people on Snake Island died. And I watched Zelensky tell the world that a Russian rocket could make a nuclear power plant turn into a nuclear bomb. And I know those things aren't true now.
Right.
But with that being said, if I were Zelensky, I'd be doing the same thing.
Yes, propaganda is persuasion.
And so I think what Americans are struggling with is you can want Ukraine to win this war. You can understand that Russia is the aggressor and the villain and is doing vile things, but also know that you might not agree with Zelensky on anything else in life, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, this is real world. This is before you have an opportunity to argue about things like being woke or unfairness. This is life and death. And I think people in this country don't get to separate those things well enough because the war we fought for 20 years touched very few of our 330 million lives. And so I think for me, when it comes to understanding what's coming in, and I don't mean to hog the conversation at all, the last thing I'll say is, like, Zelensky wants these planes. I'm a little bit skeptical of that. I understand war enough to know what they need is ground-to-air defense that can reach high altitude, which prevents long range. And I don't hear any reports over what Air Force they have, what capabilities they have, and how well they're using it. And there are a lot of reports and intelligence reports coming out saying they have plenty of planes. So does Zelensky want the planes so that we are more involved and to create that opportunity? Perhaps. And again, I'm not calling him a villain for it. But if Biden's making this decision based on that, I'm not going to beat Biden up for it either.
Right, okay. Tyrus?
Are you succumbing to what you're fighting against?
Right.
Yes, and you are, because it's a steady drip.
Yes.
It's a constant drip. It's just it hits your forehead and hits your forehead. You're like, no. And after a while, you're like, It's got to be true.
Right.
All this is coming out, and you're a human being. Anytime you see a video of anyone being carried out in a stretcher or a child outside of a bombed apartment building, your first reaction is, what the hell, and oh my God, we have to do something, if you're any kind of a human being. But you chose to make this stand, and it was a very unpopular stand.
Yeah, tell me.
And so the pressure from that and just the humanity of seeing what we're seeing, I would be shocked if you didn't succumb a little. But the fact that you're still asking the question, I think is the most important thing, because we all have to ask the question. Because it looks to me like we're being slowly drawn in to this war. We're getting pulled in, and you're a human being.
Yeah. Kat, do you believe that I'm a human being? Because I don't.
I was going to say, that's taking it a
This is
bit
your, no,
far.
I set it up. Get him, Kat.
Taking it a bit far.
Sorry.
I mean, you are.
It's not about me, though. It's about what do you, how do you feel when you're digesting this information?
Well, I think that obviously, like Tyra said, you see these things, you think, oh, this is horrible, I have to do something. But again, you have to remind yourself, you don't want to end up doing something that causes even more destruction and causes even more people to die. And just remember our track record with getting involved in foreign conflicts as of late. Because there are real consequences to these things that need to be considered.
Nope.
Yeah. Not so much for me, right? But that's another thing. I'm not going to have to go fight this war, right? I'm not going to have to go do it. But very rarely are the people who say do it the ones that are going to have to go do it.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Emily, there was a poll that showed that American support for the no-fly zone dropped once they were told what it was. They thought that, like, no-fly zone meant
don't fly there, and then they don't.
And so that was 40% for it, and then it dropped to 25 when they said, no, you might be shooting at Russian planes, and that's called war.
I mean, I'm not going to belittle everyone that answered that poll.
Yeah.
Because what I will say is, you know, I can just speak for myself that when I see those images, my heart breaks. And when I hear about the children that have died, and when I see that people are starving and getting shot while in line for bread, and we, you know, there are facts that are occurring, there are images that are undeniable that we are seeing, and those tear my heart apart. And so I just know that I do want to help. I wish my tax dollars would go to help. I wish my commander-in-chief would have acted like one a year ago and actually deterred this guy.
Yeah,
because here's the thing. Putin's not going to stop until he is stopped. And it's like Congressman Walt said, which is basically that these vague comments that our president keeps saying, well, he'll face severe consequences and the like, that doesn't mean anything to Putin. So until he meets American steel, until he meets any kind of steel, he won't stop. But I guess that begs the question to your point is, well, you know, at what point is that line, does that necessitate American involvement? Because I think what we've learned in history is that, oh, it doesn't harm us yet, it doesn't impact us yet. Then by the time it does, thousands of people have been killed. Thousands of Americans potentially have been killed. And to me, as we're all looking at this as humans, or, you know, half human, like when we're seeing human suffering, I just know that I want to help.
Oh, nice.
I'd just like to say the DNA test did prove I'm totally human.
Yes.
That Bigfoot thing was a gross lie. Started by Gutfeld.
Yes. All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.